Out here, if you're doing nothing, you're doing everything right. Though on a cruise with Norwegian, even if you're doing nothing, you're still basking in the warm sun, enjoying the peaceful ocean waves. You're breathing. Don't forget about breathing. Definitely need to be breathing. So you get to do nothing, or everything, but you still need to be breathing. It's like really important.
Experience the difference with cruises to Alaska, the Caribbean, and Europe. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Norwegian Cruise Line ships registry the Bahamas and USA.
PK, Texas Tech, needs a new quarterback. His name's Will Hammond, and they don't know if he's going to be healthy in time for the conference opener. Does that make BYU the favorite now?
Yeah.
Are the Cougs the top dog?
Bear with me. That's BYU's slogan in 2026.
You're good at slogans. Big, gigantic thing hanging on the outside of the stadium. Bear with us. There's Bear Bachmeier running.
Running, throwing, dragging Utes into the end zone. Bullish on Arizona Wildcats going into the end zone. Yeah. And what's cool about it, man, is game 2. The Cats come to Provo right off the bat. Yeah. No offense to Utah Tech, because I love my, the Trailblazers now. I love my Trailblazers. But let's get on to game 2, which is the first game of the conference season right off the friggin' bat, right? I don't think anybody else is playing a conference game in week 2.
There should be more conference games week 2 and 3, but there are not. They had to organize that. Take advantage of that. It's good that they're doing this. They're only doing it because of Notre Dame. Should be a little more of that.
Yeah, well, and that's a great matchup. Big game right off the bat.
Yep.
I mean, every conference game is huge, but the Cats should be good.
2 teams that finished in at the top of the league last year. They've got important pieces back. Obviously, they both have the quarterbacks back. So let's go. You ought to be 2 of the top half, top third, top quarter of the league again.
I think Fafita's the best passer in the league.
I can see why you would say that.
And if he was 6'2", he'd be in the NFL right now. I have no doubt about that. He's not
6'2". Right. What can he do about that?
Right.
And the league does not like guys who are that small.
Yeah. But he's a fine college.
But he's a really good college.
Plus, he's got 4 years' experience at the same school. He's had multiple coaches, but
he's produced through that. Sometimes
he's coming back with the same guys.
Sometimes that sinks people, but
Yeah. So that's a great game. But yeah, I think the Cougars should be considered right there. If you want to go Texas Tech a little bit because they are the defending, I get that. I understand that. I understand that reasoning.
Well, also, it's about picking the top 2 now, because picking who's going to win one game in November, not knowing who's going to be healthy in a sport like this is crazy.
We still pick a winner.
We do.
But it doesn't matter. First or second's good. Although I think there was a clear difference between 1 and 2 this past last year. Wasn't it like 63-14 or something?
Yeah. It was lopsided. I don't remember the number, but I get your point. They dominated both games.
They did.
And if you throw in the Utes, they dominated all 3 games and those 3 dominated the rest of the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tony, BYU's a favorite if they put a 65-0 beat down on Utah Tech, then yes. If they have a 38-14 game with them, no. The offense should be elite. We'll see if Papinga can get the defense to shine. There is a lot of that.
I'm okay with the defense, though. I think the down linemen should be okay, as good as they were last year. Linebacker, you lose Kelly, who was a big-time playmaker.
That's why he's an NFL draft pick.
You got Glasgow back. The Ovale kid from Cal was a state of Utah kid. He was really good there. Secondary's got some experience. Jay Drew had a story about Satawala being hurt, but we're getting into the season, and I don't think it'll linger. We'll see how that plays out. And you talk to the guys, and it's a similar thing to Utah when they made the transition. They didn't have the depth, right? Kalani was D coordinator at the time. I think it's the second year they're playing, maybe the third year, but I think it's the second year. Yeah, the second year they're playing the Devils, or maybe it's the first year. They got to take out Trevor Riley. He needs a blow, and the Devils go right at him, right at that position. And they go
right down the field, and they score, and they win the game.
Yeah, and I think we saw that a little bit here with BYU when they made the transition, as they should. You're stepping up in competition on a week-by-week basis, right? And so now, what are they going in their fourth year?
Yep.
So, yeah, and you recruited to the Big 12 2 years before, but with the missions, that actually times out pretty good. Now those guys have all been home for 2 years. So the mission should be a distant memory in terms of conditioning and everything else. So now you're seeing them stockpile some more depth to be able to withstand some of this stuff. So they're in a better position. Obviously, it's reflective in their record.
There are people who just, they can't help themselves.
In what manner?
Donnie, no, we're the underdog. The Utes are the preseason number one. Put the pressure on those guys, Donnie says.
Well, no, I don't think the Utes will be a preseason number one, but I do think they'll be in the mix, and they should be in the mix. They've earned the right to be in the mix. But as you pointed out, there's unknowns on the field and unknowns on the sidelines.
I think third is the highest they'll be picked.
Which is fine.
Some people will pick them down at sixth or seventh, and that might only be the difference between going 7-2 and 6-3.
I think Devin Dampier has an opportunity to be conference MVP.
I can see why you say that. A returning quarterback, good team. He could put up huge numbers.
Right.
Going to have a little more of a chance to throw the ball this year. I still think there'll be a lot of running. I don't think
there should be. He's dynamic.
Yeah, and I don't think they got a crazy guy running the offense, but he does like to throw it. There could be a little more of that.
Well, they got the best receivers they've ever had.
Low bar, but I get your point.
Why do you got to be negative?
I think I'm being factual, pragmatic, realistic.
Okay, but you didn't have to rain on a parade. Low bar.
I do think the receiver class could be better. I think if there's ever a time in an offseason to say, this is year it's going to be different, and you have correctly pointed out, I've only heard that like 15 years in a row. Why would I? Charlie Brown, you're pulling the ball back. What's going on? And I get that.
Lucy pulls the ball back.
Lucy pulls the ball back. You're right. I totally messed up that metaphor. But it is different. Morgan's here. You got a different head coach, a different OC, a different receiver coach. If there was ever a time it was going to be different, this is it. We give Kyle his flowers justifiably because he's so good at identifying, projecting talent.
And you are so groovy, giving him his flowers. Everything that's hip and lingo, you pick up.
Like butter.
Man.
But Kyle struggled a little with quarterbacks and clearly got better, or they wouldn't have Huntley and Rising. Well, and even this past year, I mean, they had two good quarterbacks. So that his ability to identify and develop quarterbacks, or at least let other people identify and develop them, if you want to argue that, hey, he was passing it off to other people and other people identified him, fine, whatever. He's head coach. He gets the credit or the blame. It all comes back to him. So he's getting better there. But receiver, you can't really say that. They never really got good at identifying and developing wide receivers. They were great at identifying and developing tight ends. Outstanding. But not wide receivers. But now it's a completely different cast of characters. Head coach, OC, receiver coach. So what has been true doesn't have to keep being true. If Ute fans want to have hope and say this is going to be different, maybe it will be. You get up and down the line now, you got different people calling shots. The problem is, will everything else be as good? And it is all complicated as much as we want to say this person, that person. As you always love to point out, there's NIL looming, and if you don't have the money, how do you get the best receivers or the best pass rushers or the best offensive tackles and pass protectors? How do you get them? You got to. So what was done 5-10 years ago is off the map. And if you don't have the same money relative to what everybody else has, even what was done 2-3 years ago can no longer be held up and compared. If everybody else is pulling away from you financially, is that true or not? And Morgan did say some of the things at his press conference that you have to say when you don't have as much money as the other guys. We want people who want to be here. We want people who want to get better. I mean, you always want that, but when you don't have as much money, you got to really sell it.
Yeah.
Because it sounds good, and it's true. Whether you have the money or not, it's true. But when you don't have the money, it's the thing you can sell.
Yeah, but Texas Tech wasn't about development last year. They were about paying guys to come in and play.
Yes, I think that their coaches would probably tell you, well, over the course of the season, we want them to develop and get better, which is true.
There were already studs
coming in. But it would also be true that when they identified them in the conversations that we're not allowed to hear, they said, hey, this guy's going to be picked in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft.
They got Bailey for one reason, cash.
This guy's going to be picked in the first 10 picks.
And that's fine.
Yeah, if you can do it. And if you can't, then you say the other thing.
Right.
We all have routines. I'm Jabron, and with diabetes, mine was finger sticks. Sometimes I skip them because it hurt. The Freestyle Libre 3C GM changed that. It gives me glucose insights without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Finger sticks are required if your glucose alarms or readings do not match symptoms, or when you see check blood glucose symbol for the first 12 hours. The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Thumbtack presents Uncertainty Strikes. I was surrounded. The aisle and the options were closing in. There were paint rollers, satin and matte finish, angle brushes, and natural bristles. There were too many choices. What if I never got my living room painted? What if I couldn't figure out what type of paint to use? What if I just used Thumbtack? I can hire a top-rated pro that knows everything about interior paint, easily compare prices, and read reviews. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.